What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to another episode of the Talkin ATL Hawks podcast. We got Jack Links in hand, not a sponsor. I'm just showing that because that's how you know that it's a good day. And it's a good day. You know what? It is always a great day when you're heading into an episode with no losses to talk about. I mean, guys, three's a streak.
And no pants on.
Yeah, no pants. 3 wins means no pants. That's a new rule we just made right now. So let's just hope none of us drop our computers or phones.
Which last week we had 3 losses to talk about. So this episode kind of cancels that episode out. Honestly,
I completely agree.
If by next episode we still have no losses, if we're on a 6-game winning streak by the time we record next episode, we're never wearing pants again.
Yes. If the Hawks play at least one basketball game before next week, I think that should stand as well. You know,
I think they play just 2 next week. By next week, I think.
We have a back-to-back. We have a back-to-back on Wednesday and Thursday in the TD Garden against the Celtics. And then we come back home all the way to the other side of the country to play Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets, which
other side of the country.
Top of the country, bottom, north, south. That's the other side. And other side doesn't also mean south, west, east, you dummy, or east, west. But yes, anyways, with some breaking news. Chase and I, dead serious, was just gifted free tickets to the Hawks and Rockets game.
Dang, that's awesome.
Not even joking.
Wait. That's the second free. Well, I guess the last Rockets game that we went to was free, but the preseason game we went to.
It just so happened to be against the Rockets. I guess
it technically wasn't free, but
dude, let me tell you this though. A guy from our church, shout out to Travis. He's a season ticket holder, and he has club level seats to the Atlanta Hawks game, and he just Bro, it gets better. He just so happened to, something come up this Thursday, couldn't make it to the game, so we just shifted the tickets off to us, and it comes with an all-you-can-eat buffet, apparently. So, yeah, your boy's going to gain 20 pounds while we watch the Hawks beat the Rockets by 30. Don't think you could ride up any better than that.
Yeah, so, wow.
So, yeah, a lot to look forward to this week, including today where we talk about 3 W's. But first of all, how you guys doing? Did y'all survive that brutal snowstorm that totally went through the state of Georgia?
Oh yeah, no, that snowstorm was completely terrible. I got snowed in. Couldn't leave my dorm for 2 days.
I don't even have a house anymore. My house blew away. It was crazy.
Bro, we literally woke up this morning and our car was flipped upside down. There's a snowman on top of it.
I mean, dude, I'm telling you, everything the Weather Channel said just came true. I mean, yeah. I'm so glad I spent $200 on eggs and milk because I totally needed that.
It's so bad. It's so bad outside. Like school's canceled for the rest of the semester. It's that bad out. It's that bad. Like seniors graduate. It's COVID 2.0 basically.
Pretty much. Dude, that's how they were building this thing up to be. We were about to go into a whole nother pandemic.
Yeah. And no, that's not what happened. Like it was like sunny outside. Like it was sunny outside. Like it was so. It was still like freezing cold. But,
there is nothing on the roads.
No snow.
There weren't nothing on the roads.
Yeah,
last year was worse by a landslide.
100%. We got snow last year. We actually got snow.
Last year we got snow.
But yeah,
we got nothing.
I was that's why originally we were going to record this podcast right after the Hawks game because our boss told us, hey, we're probably not going to be working on Monday. And then because literally nothing happened, he was like, all right, guys, everybody coming to work. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, I guess we'll just hop right into my start bench cut. This was an idea that I actually proposed Chase to do last episode. But I called it a quote-unquote missed opportunity. So I'm going to use that opportunity to bring up the discussion because I was wearing it in last episode in honor of MLK Day and because the Hawks broke the news that the MLK City Edition jerseys were going to be making a return next year, which I mentioned last episode, I'll mention it again, are hands down my favorite city jerseys that the Hawks have ever had.
Yep.
Not necessarily in terms of looks. It does look really good, but I do think we've had better looking jerseys.
Yeah.
But I think that MLK court is the best, or that MLK City Edition jersey comes with the best court design. I love that Atlanta Hawks logo that like symbolizes the glass windows of like an old Baptist church.
Yeah.
That is the most beautiful looking thing I've ever seen on a basketball court.
What's that glass called?
There's a proper name for it.
Is it stained glass? I think it's called.
It's stained glass. Stained glass. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Smart joiner.
How did I know that?
I don't know. I knew there was a technical name for it. I just could not remember. But yeah, stained glass, dude. It looked so good. And because of the lore behind the jerseys, the Hawks just simply never lose in those jerseys, which presents the question to you guys. I want you to give me y'all's top 3 favorite moments in the MLK jerseys. And I say top 3 because there's a lot. There's a lot of moments we could shuffle through, but I want to hear your guys' top 3. I got mine easily, but I'm going to let you go first.
Thank you, guys. I got to think about this for a sec. I can't even think of I can't even. I don't think. I don't think. I don't know. Like if I can think of like 2.
I know what easily right off the bat what my favorite moment is, but
I think
to be
me and you are
honest,
going to be on the same wavelength, Chase.
Because it was a couple years ago, I don't quite remember exactly what games were in our MLK jersey, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Man, that's my problem. I can't think of like games, like certain games.
I can make it easier. Easier.
Please do.
Why not y'all just give me y'all's favorite moment? And we'll just go from there. And Chase, I think me and you are going to have the same one, so I'll think of a different one.
We do. I guess, John, while you're still thinking about it, I'll go ahead and drop mine. Right off the bat, this isn't just one of my favorite moments with the Hawks in this MLK jersey. It's one of my favorite moments in Hawks history. It might be top 3.
As a matter of fact, Chase, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the picture.
Yeah, go ahead and pull up the picture. We all remember the infamous John Collins absolute poster, arm wrapped around Embiid, nut shoved down his throat dunk on Joel Embiid. And it was, I believe, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the 76ers. Even though we lost the game. Was it Game 6 or Game 5?
This was Game 5, and yes,
I thought so.
This game.
I thought so. Yes, and for context here, I mean it was late in the second quarter. It was just a simple Trae Young, John Collins set the screen. Trae Young goes around it. John Collins wraps around, heads towards the rim. And the thing is, Joel Embiid is sitting right in the paint. So my mind's thinking Trae Young's going to go floater here because no way he's going to lob it up. Even though John the Baptist is, can get up there. We know he has the verb. We know he has a history of baptizing people under the rim. I'm just thinking, it's a little too testy, especially in a playoff game, to lob it up and try to have him go over Joel Embiid. Well, Trae Young says, hey, I know my teammate better than you do. I'm going to lob it up because I know he's going to go up here and get this. And my goodness, did it produce one of the nastiest dunks in NBA history, NBA playoff history right off the bat. As you can see here, John Collins goes up. Not only does he dunk on Embiid, he puts him in a chokehold, a WWE chokehold, while he dunks it on top of his head. And it was so nasty that John Collins made it into a t-shirt, wore it in next game's press conference, and then he sold it on the internet for other people to buy. That is just one of the coldest things I have ever seen. And it was so nasty that, like, the entire State Farm Arena was just on their feet in shock our brother Jake FaceTimed us. I answered the FaceTime, and his jaw was just too. He's not even a Hawks fan, and he was just like, I have no idea what I just saw, but that was one of the nastiest things I've ever seen. John Collins left his mark on Atlanta with that moment alone. It will forever be remembered as the dunk that ruined Joel Embiid's career. Because if you ask me, he's never been the same since that moment. You're welcome.
And for additional context, Joel Embiid and John Collins were barking at each other for pretty much the entire series. I mean,
Right.
from game one, leading all the way up to this moment, it seemed like every single game in that playoff series, there was some kind of interruption in the game because John Collins and Embiid were just like face to face, just going after each other. And there was harsh fouls committed by both players on each other throughout the entire series. Like there was just no love between the two. And even before this dunk, if you take it like 3 possessions before this dunk even happens, Joel Embiid shoves John Collins down with like a little elbow. He was called for an offensive foul, but he like intentionally, you could tell there was purpose behind it, dug his shoulder into John Collins, threw him to the ground. The whole stadium was booing him. And then 3 possessions later, you get this masterpiece. And that's part of the reason why John Collins wore the T-shirt, because he was trying to, like, salt the wound on Joel Embiid. It was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite Atlanta Hawks – I know – who am I kidding? My favorite Atlanta Hawks playoff moment of all time. Well, I don't know. Trae Young's bow at the Garden is probably my favorite, but this one comes easily second. Jordan, what's yours? If you have one. If not, that's fine. Because I know I kind of threw y'all into the mist in this one. So
yeah, no, it's all good. So, and I'm sorry, but that was the actual moment I was it was the only moment I could think of. So I apologize for taking y'all's moment. But
it's valid. It's valid.
It is the.
I remember just like going on a really cool vacation that during that playoff series. Me, my grandmother, my cousin, and my mom we were just like going along the Georgia coast, like through like Savannah, Brunswick, some place like that.
W.
We were staying at this really cool hotel that had like a pool like pooling on the roof. And I remember I was like watching that game like from that pool, and it
W.
Was,
hey,
sounds like a
just that entire playoff series in general like was really awesome to watch. It's like no one expected us to like do that to Philly.
And, we were actually on vacation as well. We were actually in Seagrove Beach, Florida, watching it from the condo, and that was a vibe. Watching that playoff series at the beach was definitely a vibe.
Yep, absolutely.
But I just as we were talking, 2 more memories popped in my head. So I have a feeling that this next one you're about to say is what I'm thinking of right now.
I don't think it is, because I'm going to throw a curveball on this one. I know all of you guys remember this man right here, a dude by the name of Cam Reddish.
Yes, never mind.
Yes.
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish was my he was the guy. I loved him when we drafted him because it was the first ever draft party that I went to. Was that 2019? Was that 20? Yeah, that was 2019. Yeah, I mean, I just remember like looking at Cam Reddish because like he was like one of the he was part of the big 3 at Duke that year.
Jordan
and Cam Reddish.
That's what I was actually going to bring up. I know.
Okay, I'm sorry, my bad.
No. I know. I'm glad you brought that up because it's an easy transition. Before Cam Reddish joined the Hogs, I had a very deep hate for Cam Reddish. And there's a lot of context behind it. Not only because I'm a diehard Florida State fan. I love Florida State basketball. He played for Duke. Now, Florida State and Duke, they're not really a rivalry. Even though they're conference foes, they're not really a rivalry in any other sport. But when it comes to basketball, there is so much hatred between Florida State and Duke because this goes all the way back to the early 2000s when Grayson Allen played for Duke. Oh my gosh, when Grayson Allen played for Duke, I hated Duke. Not early 2000s. That was late 2000s, but y'all get the point. So Florida State was playing at home against Duke. This was actually College game day. Very big game, very huge atmosphere. Both Florida State and Duke were ranked in the top 10, and Florida State had the lead. We had the lead on the final possession. We sold by not grabbing a rebound. The ball went out of bounds. Duke had the last shot with about 1.8 seconds left. They inbounded it. Cam Reddish drained a deep three at the buzzer to beat us and just absolutely crushed our spirits. Absolutely crushed my spirits, and I hated Cam Reddish because of it. Then he joins the Hawks, and I fell in love with this dude. Matter of fact, there was a point in time where I wanted us to trade DeAndre Hunter over Cam Reddish because that's how much love I had for Cam Reddish. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter's a better basketball player now, but at the time, and this is what really ticked me off, the moment that I'm talking about was MLK on COVID year. It was the MLK game on COVID year, so of course we were wearing our MLK jerseys. We were playing at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Cam Reddish had one of the most insane performances. Let me see if I can actually pull up his official stat line from that game. Cam Reddish, 2020 versus Timberwolves.
I guess while you're pulling it up, real quickly, go ahead.
I got it right here. Cam Reddish against the Minnesota Timberwolves on MLK Day dropped 33 points, shot 13 for 14, so he only missed one shot the entire game. Had 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. That was his stat line against Minnesota Timberwolves. This is the most insane, and I'm sure you guys remember it, or I certainly do, because this is when I lost faith in Landry Fields. Right after that game, right after the best game he's ever had in his career, Landry Fields trades him away. That was the very last game he played for the Atlanta Hawks, and my mind was boggled. Like, what are you doing, Landry Fields? I can't validate that Cam Reddish would have turned out to be fantastic if he stayed with the Atlanta Hawks. This was maybe it was either 2020 or 2021. I can't remember what year.
The weird Landry Fields, like I think this was still when we had Travis Slank, I think.
Okay, well, it might have been him. It might have been him that traded him away because I can't remember. I thought it was Landry Fields, but you're right. I might be a year early. But regardless, I was so ticked off with the Hawks organization after this. But, I just throw flower petals up in the air. The moment was absolutely great. I mean, it was fantastic. And basically, it was the moment that I realized that Cam Reddish was going to be the next big thing in Atlanta, and then we traded him away. So it's a bittersweet moment, I guess is fair to say. But
it was Schlenk, and
okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is why we fired him. Maybe it was this move right here that led us to fire him.
Didn't he resign or something?
I think he resigned. I think he stepped down.
Yeah, maybe it's because all the hate mail. Maybe he got so much hate mail because of this.
Do we know where? Do you know where he is now? Because I do.
I feel like I should know this. Isn't he? I don't know. Actually, I don't think I do.
Chase, you got an idea?
I don't.
Is he with the Knicks?
Washington.
Oh, the Wizards? Oh, wow.
Oh, I actually did not know that.
Yeah. So I think like the relationship with Trae Young played a part in us trading him in there. I think that's why we traded him there. Besides, besides the fact that they have like all these like young pieces. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Did not know that.
Yep, he's in Washington.
The more you know, the more you know.
He's in Washington.
I guess I will say one other moment. I'll say it really quickly. Was that Game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals of that same year against Milwaukee? Well, it was our first game without Trae Young. This was a game after. This was a game right before he got injured, or right after he got injured, and he was rolled out the rest of the series. That's when the Hawks came together and absolutely obliterated Milwaukee in Game 4. And that was also when Clint Capella hit one of the craziest behind the backboard fadeaways that I've ever seen at the shot clock buzzer. That was kind of just a cherry on top to what was such a dominant performance in Atlanta. And then of course we lost the next two. But I will stand by this statement. I truly believe we would have beat Milwaukee if Trae Young never got injured. And I truly believe we would have beat the Phoenix Suns in that year's NBA Finals. I really do. I really
100%.
do. I really do believe that if Trae Young never got injured, the Hawks 90% chance the Hawks have a championship. That's not the
Boom.
1953 St. Louis Hawks or
19,
1956, whatever it was.
1959. Get your facts right.
1959, my bad.
Anyways, guys, fun little moment there, going back down memory lane. But now it's time to get into the present because Hawks basketball is alive and well, boys, alive and well, suffering a harsh, horrible 4-game span between the Lakers on January 13th and the Bucks on MLK Day over on the 19th. The Hawks travel to Memphis 2 days later on Wednesday the 21st, begging for a win against a very depleted Memphis Grizzlies team who just so happened to be getting Ja Morant back in the starting lineup for the first time since mid-December. So there is a lot of things going around, a lot of noise. Ja Morant has caused a lot of controversy in the Memphis front office this season. Now he's deciding that he wants to stay in Memphis, and they don't really know what to do with him because of all of his injuries. It's a big mess, but the hype was real because Memphis, also in need of a turnaround, had their star player coming back, and the Hawks were desperate for a win. Still without Zachary Richardson, obviously still without Kristaps Porzingis. But Chase, I'm going to start with you. Take us through the madness of what was this game, because there was a lot to Ja coming back, and I'm not talking about scoring either. I'm not talking about scoring. Not the best night on the floor for Ja Morant.
It wasn't to start. He definitely had a much better second half, but yeah, he had a rough start shooting percentage wise in the first half. And he was just getting adjusted. He just previously came back from his injury. They played that overseas game against the Magic where he had a really good performance and they won there. But this was his first game back in Memphis in front of the home crowd, and you can tell the Grizzlies fans were obviously really excited to have him back. And this was right after he made the statement amidst all the trade rumors that Memphis is where he wants to play and he wants to stay a Grizzly, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of shocked me, given his, history going back and forth with his coaching staff, the front office, and his teammates. I've never been the biggest Ja Morant guy because of his attitude and his persona, but I will say I'm gonna give him his props. I was really proud to see him kind of come together, and amidst all the differences, he pumped them aside and was like, you know what? Memphis is the one who drafted me and gave him a chance. This is where I want to stay, and for that, I really respect him, and it kind of changes my perspective on Ja Morant. Really, to kind of give you an overview of this game, it was really back and forth and it was tight the entire way. To give you kind of a bird's eye perspective, there was 16 lead changes and 10 ties, and the Grizzlies held a 95-94 lead entering the final frame, and it went back and forth throughout the whole fourth quarter, and the margin never got bigger than 6 points. And matter of fact, the Memphis had a 110-108 lead in the final 6 minutes of the game, and that's when the Atlanta Hawks went on their big outburst to kind of get some separation. We scored 8 straight points, which was capped off by 2 clutch free throws by Jalen Johnson and a huge contested fadeaway midi to put the Hawks up by, I think it was up by I think that put us up by 2. Yes, I think that's what put us up by 2, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when Ja Morant missed a 3 at the buzzer on the other end. But yeah, that's kind of the bird's eye view of this game. Very tight, very close. But I'm gonna kick it back to I'm gonna throw it to you, Joyner, and I'll kind of want you to break down what it meant to have Ja Morant back. Because why I gained some more respect for him as a person on the court. He still kind of got that, I'm the best in the league, no one can touch me mentality. And he kind of showed that to a certain someone on the Atlanta Hawks who didn't take that kindly. John, if you kind of want to break down that little moment that happened in the second quarter between John Morant and yours truly, Muhammad Gay.
Oh, I mean, if I can remember what happened, I mean, yeah, didn't didn't they get into like a shoving match or something like that?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. A little bit.
Yeah,
Basically, what happened, just for short context, is John Morant went up for a layup. Muhammad Gay, obviously the defender, the rim protector that he is, tried his best to block the layup. And as John Morant was going up, he kind of quickly switched to little underneath reverse. So coming down, Muhammad Gay naturally tries to swat the ball away, but ends up kind of wrapping his arm around John Morant. No, you could tell watching the replay. There was no intent with it. And you could tell because as soon as they landed on the floor, he let go of his neck and put both of his hands up to be like, hey, I wasn't trying to do anything dirty. But John Morant did not take that kindly and immediately started shoving him. So that's what started the altercation.
yeah, no, like that's just like I don't understand why point guards want to pick fights with bigs. Well, that's never gonna go your way. I get it. Like John Morant was the second pick in the draft, rookie of the year. He's a big name guy, and Mo Gay isn't really that well known besides to us Hawks fans. So I mean, but still, Moge is still what he's 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah,
And John's 6'1".
Yeah, he overarches John Morant by more than a couple inches for sure. And to emphasize on your point, Andrew, like people can say like, oh, when he tried to get back up, he swung his elbow around and hit John Morant. When in the video, you can clearly see that he deliberately tried to lift his arm above John's head so he wouldn't hit him. And yeah, his elbow accidentally bumped him in the forehead. But the fact that angered you so much that you couldn't have self-control to not get up and push Muhammad Gay from behind, by the way. Couldn't even be a man and face him up front. Had to push him from behind and cost your team a technical. That's the side of John Morant that just aggravates me because that's selfish basketball. Because he's letting his anger come into effect. He's been in the league long enough to know you have to have better self-control. Yet he can't overcome his anger, and he put his team in a bad spot because of that. Now,
I mean,
they did put Muhammad Gay. They did give a technical to Muhammad Gay as well, which I wasn't a fan of. I think it was
He
because
retaliated. It's just because he retaliated.
but nothing ever happened. Like Jalen Johnson stepped in front and kind of grabbed him before Muhammad Gay could do anything. So I don't know if maybe he said something that the ref flew in a tech for. But based on what I saw, I didn't see enough at all that warranted Muhammad Gay technical foul. But back to John Morant. Like I respect him trying to be a better team leader, but on the court, he's got to get his emotions underway. Because look, I understand emotions happen. It's a physical game. They're all competitors. I understand emotions get in the way, but when it's something that small, that's just a lack of self-control. That's what it is.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
I mean, speaking of small things and self-control. I mean, this was the same guy that weighed a gun on Instagram Live twice. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's
let's be real. I mean, you hate to bring that incident back up, but I mean, let's be real. Let's be real.
Hey, history repeats itself. I will say, what, Chase?
Go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, I was gonna kind of switch motion. So if you want to bring up something about John Morant, you can go ahead. I don't want to change topics if you're not ready to move.
Oh no, I was actually gonna throw a little transition to you.
Oh, I was just gonna say some other storylines is the Atlanta Hawks had two of our players playing their former team in the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, the most notable one being Luke Kennard, who spent
exactly that's exactly what I was gonna ask you about.
And Luke Kennard had one of the best shooting nights against Memphis, which kind of made up for a little bit of our other three ball. I don't want to say three ball slack because Nikhil Alexander-Walker had some success. Onyeka Okongwu had a couple of big threes. Corey Kispert hit 2 3-pointers himself, but Luke Kennard shooting 4 for 5 from the 3-point shot, which is 3-point line, which is 80%, kind of just highlights why he leads the NBA on highest 3-point percentage, which is a really drastic change from when he first started the season.
Like speaking of that, like Bob Rathner said that on the
Yep.
broadcast today, which is why like I think it was like asking like was that true? Because like I can't believe that honestly over a guy like Curry or people like that's insane honestly.
Yeah, and it's not like Luke Kennard's not putting up shots. He's averaging about 5 3-point attempts every single game, but he's so efficient.
He's got to be in the 3-point contest.
You would think with those numbers and him leading the league in 3-point percentage, you would think he would probably at least get the invitation. But yeah, and a lot of these threes came in big moments. I mean, he's done really well moving off ball and just setting himself up behind screens for those catch and shoot situations. And another guy playing his former team was newly acquired, the very first game in a Hawks jersey, Christian Koloko, who we actually acquired from Memphis, who was on a 2-way contract. We picked up that contract, gave him a can't remember what exact contract we gave him. It was still an option. So Memphis is still
was it a 2-way?
I think it was a 2-way contract. Yeah,
I think it was. I think it still remained a 2-way. But regardless, he didn't do much. He got 11 minutes of playing time. Only put up 2. He made 2 field goals. Gave him 4 points. Oh no, I'm sorry. He had 5 points because his first shot in the Atlanta Hawks jersey was actually a 3-point shot.
It wasn't his first shot. His first made shot. No, his first shot was a dunk. His first shot was actually his very first offensive possession. I can't remember who drove in. It might have been Jalen Johnson or Nikhil Alexander-Walker. I can't remember. But for very first offensive possession, I don't know if the Grizzlies gave him a little welcome home gift, but I think it was Nah that drove in, and then they left Koloko wide open to paint, no one around him, and Nah just did a simple dish to him. He just did a wide open dunk. I guess that was a, hey, welcome home, Koloko kind of move because no one was around him. But then he hit a 3 later in the game, to your point, Andrew.
Yeah, big man can shoot, and he also can protect the rim, which is why the Hawks signed him for defensive purposes. Since we were missing size in Zachary and Kristaps Porzingis, we want to make up for it.
We have Kristaps Porzingis?
Some say that. I don't know if the rumors are true, but I've seen word that
I did see him on the Hawks bench. Maybe he's transitioned into like a fan or something.
I think he's a big fan. Dude, I think he's a big Hawks fan. Yeah.
Imagine if the Hawks signed Kristaps Porzingis. That'd be sick.
Nah, that would never happen.
That would be sick, man. Could you imagine having someone of that size on the team?
Dude, what a privilege, right? What an absolute privilege.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did have 1 block and 1 steal, and the block that he had was a really impressive block on Jarrett Jackson Jr., who was the best player on the floor for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
But the best player on the floor for the Atlanta Hawks, Chase, was yours truly, Jalen Johnson, who dominated all 40 minutes, Chase. And I want you to take us into that, Chase, because Lord knows after last episode, Jalen needed a game like this. So tell us how that performance propelled the Hawks to kind of close out the win. And also –
oh yeah, the little too small. That in case you don't know what this is, after Jalen Johnson hit that mid range over John Moran in the final seconds, kind of put the dagger in. He hit Ja with a little too small because Ja was talking a little too much of the Hawks throughout the game. So Jalen Johnson kind of had to remind him that hey, you might be this small, but your ego's this big. Kind of a little reminder there. But yes, Andrew, you're absolutely right. Look, I remember we kind of concluded last episode kind of talking about what's going on with Jalen Johnson. We all kind of agreed that it seemed like ever since we traded Trae Young, his confidence has kind of dipped a little bit, and he's playing a little scared and not himself. It's almost like he wasn't he wasn't handling the responsibility of officially being our number one option very well. And it's like something snapped in this game. It's like, okay, we're on a big losing streak. Someone's got to step up. Because we trade Trae Young, I'm the next guy up. I'm the new face of the Atlanta Hawks. They need me in this position. I've got to be there. And he went back to the old Jalen Johnson we all knew and loved, attacking the paint with no hesitation. Instead of driving in and kicking out because he wasn't too sure if he could go up or not, he was going in full force and he was going up on everybody. Jared Jackson Jr. That's pretty much about it, because this is a very small Memphis lineup, which helped to Jalen Johnson's advantage. And he even got his mid-range back. And like I said, because they're a smaller team, Jalen Johnson had the size advantage on a lot of defenders, and he took that to his advantage by taking them in the post and going back to hitting those fadeaway mid-range shots like he's so good at. And especially in the fourth quarter, like I mentioned before, the Hawks kind of scored 8 straight points to kind of get that separation late in the game. And a lot of that was Jalen Johnson taking control and being that guy the Hawks could look to in the final minutes of the game to give him the edge to stop, having these close games but not being able to finish. He let the Hawks finally learn how to finish a game, and it's all through Jalen Johnson. So glad to see him kind of coming back to full form and becoming the face of the Atlanta Hawks we all knew he was supposed to be.
Jordan, you got any closing remarks on the Memphis Grizzlies game?
No, I'm good. I'm just glad that we got a win after that terrible start. After that terrible losing streak we were on.
Amen.
Well, I got good news, guys. The winning did not stop in Memphis. As a matter of fact, the Hawks came back home to play the Phoenix Suns, who, under a newly acquired head coach, has been playing some really good basketball in the very tough Western Conference. Coming into this game, they were sitting 4th in the Western Conference. I think they were 11 games above 500 coming into this game.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's not showing me their record after this game. So let's just assume they're 11 games over 500. At least somewhere around that mark.
It was 9 games over 500.
9 games. Okay. I knew they were somewhere around the 10-game mark. So 9 games over 500. The Hawks looking to gather a win streak, build some momentum, and try to regain their spot out of the play-in tournament in the East. Now, going into this game, obviously, you had Devin Booker. You have Devin Brooks, who's been really good. Dylan Brooks, I keep calling him Devin. Dylan Brooks, who's been really good for Phoenix this year. Probably the best version of Dylan Brooks, as a matter of fact, in terms of scoring. And if you remember, when the Hawks played the Suns in Phoenix earlier in the year, the Hawks made a remarkable 23-point comeback in the fourth quarter to steal that win after Zachary Richardson exited the game after a very scary fall. And again, no Zachary Richardson in this game, but the Hawks were looking to get off to a better start, and that's exactly what we did. Joyner, why don't you open the game for us?
Yeah. So the my phone will work. So starters were again Dyson Daniels, Alexander Walker, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, and Corey Kispert starting
Typical
again.
crew. Typical crew.
Yeah, typical crew. And we had and so the winning score was Onyeka Okongwu with 25 points, 9 for 15 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Jalen Johnson had 23 points, 18 assists. I'm sorry, 18 rebounds, not assists. 18 rebounds.
So freaking close, man. So
9 assists. One assist short from a triple double. Just
would have been his 9th of the season. Would have been his 9th of the season, man.
Yeah. We're just. I think we started him out at that point because we were up by a good bit anyway. So we want to rest him. Dyson Daniels had a bit of a quiet game with 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Corey Kispert, same thing, 8 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and then now had 13 points. A bit of a struggle game for him, but CJ McCollum scored 21 points on the bench, shooting 9 for 15, 2 for 4 from 3, 4 rebounds. Kennard finished the game with 9 points, 3 for 4 from the field, only shooting 3-point shots.
That's 75%, ladies and gents.
And yeah, but but the leading scorer for Phoenix was Devin Booker. Just it seemed like he couldn't really miss because well he was playing until he got hurt in that game.
You might agree with me, but he just really seemed like he couldn't find his footing in the fourth quarter. You know, I mean, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Get well soon, Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Get well soon, my guy. That was brutal.
That's too soon.
I feel bad for him, man. I really hope he's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but someone else said it seemed like he couldn't really mess was Colin Gillespie shooting.
God, he's good, man. That kid is good.
He really is.
6 for 12 from 3. 6 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. And then y'all's favorite Duke player of all time, Grayson Allen, had 16 off the bench.
Ooh, love that guy.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Grayson Allen started the game 6 for 6.
No, he scored. Didn't he score like 9 straight points for Phoenix in the second quarter?
Yeah, I think he went on a 9-0 run by himself. I think after that, he was like 6 for 6 with 12 points at one point or something like that.
There's a reason I picked up Gillespie on my fantasy team, by the way, and that's exactly the reason. But Chase, why don't you take us into this game? Primarily focus on the Hawks' struggle. Not really struggle, because we started off okay in the first quarter, but kind of let it slip more so in the third quarter. But Devin Booker, Chase, really talk about how Devin Booker just really had our number in the first 2.5 quarters of this game.
I mean, if you feel like he always does, I mean, Devin Booker, he's been one of the more prominent shooters in the league since really he's been in the league. But it seems like especially against the Atlanta Hawks. And, you know, the Hawks played a good game, I feel like, throughout. I mean, there was a point, you know, in the third quarter where the Suns started to pull away, and it really, I feel like the Hawks were producing good offense, but just we couldn't stop them beyond the arc. And I also want to say I don't really feel like it was bad perimeter defense. It's just the Suns were lights out from deep, you know, with, you know, Grayson Allen, with Gillespie, like we mentioned. You know, they shot the ball. Well, actually, now that I look at the numbers, they actually shot 32% from deep, but it was really their starting lineup that was giving us problems from deep. Mainly Devin Booker, who shot 5 for 9. And he was just doing it quick. The Suns really hurt us bad in transition because, you know, the Hawks once again struggled in transition, wasn't able to get back on defense in time, which allowed Devin Booker especially to have a lot of spot-up shots, mid-range or from beyond the arc that just really dug the knife in deeper until eventually it was a 7-point lead for the Phoenix Suns. And then Aneke Kongwu really was the player of the game by stopping when Devin Booker was right behind him, causing Devin Booker to roll his ankle and be taken out of the game. Rest in peace, Devin Booker. You know, Okongwu
wasn't even looking at him. He was looking down court. Devin Booker just scored. It was just a turnover because the ball was thrown out of bounds. He was walking back. Totally wasn't looking and just stepped on Okongwu's foot. His ankle went in a weird way. He couldn't walk on it. It was a bad moment.
It was bad. Like to see how bad he twisted it, but
yeah, I really hope that he comes back soon, and it's nothing more than a sprained ankle.
It's good for the league to have a guy like Devin Booker. And then, like I said, shout out to the Suns coach, you know, former Hawks assistant, by the way, like you mentioned, Andrew. First season as a Phoenix Suns head coach. You know, he's taken a team that kind of still doesn't have that good of a bench, but he's making it well-do, and he's making them competitors in the Western Conference, which is a really hard thing to do. But the reason I kind of said it. I was
just going to say nobody expected Phoenix to be in this spot at this time of the year.
No. And look, the reason I kind of said Okongwu was, you know, playing the game despite his 25 points is because Devin Booker got injured when the Suns had a 7-point lead. And then right after that, the Atlanta Hawks outscored the Suns 26-12 in the fourth quarter to come away with a 7-point lead. You know, I don't want to say it was because of Devin Booker. That definitely played a big part of it. But Andrew, you know, we kind of talked about during the game, There is a lot of Hawks fans throwing shade at CJ McCollum, saying that he's a ball hog and that he doesn't produce. That he kind of hurts the Atlanta Hawks offensively more than he helps. But look at his game today, Andrew. He dropped a hot 21 points off the bench, 4 rebounds, and he extended his double-digit scoring streak to 34 games. Andrew, how did CJ McCollum do that? And what do you have to say for all those Hawks fans that are kind of dissing on the man?
Yeah, just look at his pregame comments before the game. The sideline reporter for the Atlanta Hawks just simply asked him, how you feeling going into this game? The Hawks coming off a win. You guys are looking to build a win streak. You personally, what do you have to offer on the floor? He said, I just gotta shoot better. And he took a lot of accountability for that game against Milwaukee in the final possession where he kind of lost the ball. He might have not gotten the best look. And he said, it's a privilege to be here. I'm healthy at my age. I just want to be the best version of myself. And that means shooting and scoring the basketball. And that's what I love about CJ McCollum, because when you bring in a veteran guy like CJ, who historically has been one of the best prominent mid-range shooters in the league during his career, you don't want that to disappear just because of his age. And he doesn't. He doesn't let his age factor into that. He shoots the ball as much as he can. And that's why he's so efficient, because to shoot the ball that much, you have to have confidence in yourself. And you can just tell, even when he's doing those little spot up threes from the corner with a hand in his face, you can just tell that he doesn't even hesitate. And I love a guy who doesn't hesitate when he has the look that he wants, because he knows he's going to find the net every single time. And that's the kind of player he is. And I want to compliment CJ McCollum because he really does still have a lot of elite post moves even at his age, and he gains such an advantage over the defenders because of that, and because he's so good in the post, it allows guys like Luke Kennard to bounce off screens, get open for catch and shoot if for some reason he's double teamed and he no longer has a look. Those are guys that are so hard for defenders to play against, because you don't want them to get any separation, but sometimes that's going to draw in some help defense, and that's going to leave the good shooters wide open. And even at his age, he's still able to draw in that extra help. And that was a big advantage for the Atlanta Hawks. But something I want to point out, and Chase, you talked about how the Hawks have struggled in transition. But I think a big factor was because the Hawks just gave the ball away way too much. And you even know, Chase, when we started to slip in the third quarter, it's not because we weren't getting good looks. It's not because we weren't playing good perimeter defense. We just kept losing the ball. And it was some of the most bizarre turnovers. It would hit off our shin, go to a Phoenix Suns guard. We would lose the ball mid-air when we're trying to pass it or something. And that's why the Hawks collected 20 plus turnovers in this game. And I'm sorry, it is a miracle that the Hawks won the game with that amount of turnover in that stat, because when you're giving up that many free points, because the Suns did score a lot off those turnovers, it's going to dig yourself a hole. But thankfully, Jalen Johnson had a really strong last 6 minutes of the game, and that's what propelled the Hawks to the win. It was a hard-fought win, not the prettiest, could have been worse, but the Hawks held their own, stuck it together, fought through adversity, and that's how you win. That's how you have to win games sometimes. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty. Sometimes you got to fight through you got to get out of your own way, and then when you finally gain some momentum, that's a great thing about this league, man. You can be down by so much, and all it takes is one big run to completely shift momentum, and that's what happened.
It's a game of runs, man. Game of runs.
That's right. Jordan, what else you got?
I'm good. I'm good. I think I'll talk enough about it. Yeah. I'm good.
Okay. Well, Joyner, I'm going to let you start with this one. I'll kind of introduce it, but Joyner was the only one here that was actually able to watch the game. I caught most of the first quarter. I'll basically explain the situation.
Yeah.
So the Hawks, this was actually supposed to be the game that was today, 7:30 tip-off against the Indiana Pacers at home. But of course, because of that so insane snowstorm that swept through Atlanta and definitely trapped everybody in their homes.
Yeah.
The Atlanta
I think State Farm Arena was buried in snow, and
they couldn't find it.
Yeah, I think they played the game in Mercedes-Benz because they couldn't find State Farm Arena.
Yeah, straight up. That's actually what happened. This game was played
Yeah.
in Mercedes-Benz. Exactly. They went Final Four mode on this game. That's absolutely what happened. But yeah, basically, they decided to move the game 6 hours back to a 1:30 tip-off to try to keep everybody from coming home late in the night because, again, the big blizzard is going to get everybody. So shout out to Atlanta Hawks fans because even though the game was pushed 6 hours back, we still drew a pretty decent crowd given the circumstances, and I absolutely love to see that. But like I said, the Atlanta Hawks 2-game win streak, having a chance to stretch it to 3, a very winnable game against a reeling Indiana Pacers, who really doesn't have much of a threat other than Pascal Siakam. But Joyner, why don't you take us to this game, man? We had a lot of exciting stuff. CJ McCollum balled out, and then Dyson Daniels turned into prime Derrick Rose. Tell us all about that, Joyner.
Yeah, so it started with the same starting five that we had the past two games. Corey Kispert started finished with 7 points. Didn't have the best game. I'm actually the worst plus minus on the team. Negative 25.
Oh God!
Yeah,
negative 25.
Yeah,
brother, we gotta get that sorted out.
Yeah, which actually fun fact, he was actually the only negative plus minus on the team.
That's crazy.
The other was either 0 or a plus. Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, funny enough, was away at the 0. But Jalen Johnson also didn't have the best game in South. He finished with 15 points, shooting 5 for 19, 1 for 7 from the field, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. But he did have 4 steals. So I was worried offensively he made a playmaking and defense, which I'd love to see that.
Defense is just as important as offense. I love
absolutely.
it.
Yeah. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker finished with 21 points, 5 for 13 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3.
5 threes, nice.
And then Dyson Daniels, which I'll get into a very interesting stat here, 22 points, 10 for 15, and for the first time since December 14th, 2025, made a 3-pointer.
Bang!
Who said Dyson? Hey, you were talking about Luke Kennard. You were talking about Luke Kennard in the 3-point contest. I say get my boy Dyson in there, man. Let's see it. Let's run it up.
I'm pretty sure Dyson has was on pace for a historic worst 3-point percentage anyone's ever had in an NBA season. It was 9% or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did finish with 5 rebounds and 9 assists, which actually I think it was you, Andrew, that was telling me about how Dyson might look-key be one of the best rebounding guards in the league. I believe you now. I believe you now.
That you would never find a guard.
Too much about it, but I can believe you now.
Aside from Russell Westbrook, you're not going to find another guard that hustles for rebounds as hard as Dyson Daniels does. It's insane, man. I love it. I absolutely love it.
But the 3 men in the hour that I want to talk about were not in the starting lineup. I want to talk about Luke Kennard finishing perfect from the field, 4 for 4, Wendy's from the field, 3 for 3 from 3.
But he said Wendy's.
Points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. And then the Christian Coloco, which also finished perfect from the field, 12 points, 6 for 6, which after this game, what Hawks Twitter was saying, sign this man immediately into a standard contract.
I'm saying,
just we need this guy.
That is very impressive for a guy who only plays 11 minutes to put up those numbers. That is very impressive.
And he played 17 tonight.
Oh yeah, so okay, I figured. Yeah, he's already getting increased minutes. That's a great sign.
Yes, but the man that single-handedly, I believe, brought us back into this game, which I'll get into why he brought it back in a little bit. CJ McCollum, number 3, 23 points, 9 for 13 9 for 15 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Man, CJ, like
Didn't he have a Kyle Korver moment where he hit like 3 straight threes in 45 seconds?
Yes, that's what I was gonna get into. Like he had maybe I think it was 4 straight possessions. Bang 3, bang 3, bang 3, bang 3.
For Zeus out there, baby, for Zeus.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's like the first half. It was sort of the Hawks and Pacers kind of going back to back to back. We weren't really out of it until midway through the third quarter. While I was hilariously taking a shower, so I missed our downfall. But when I got out, that's when we started that's hilariously when we started mounting our comeback. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't stop watching a Hawks game to go take a shower.
Yeah, no more showers for you, John, until the Hawks game is over, anyways.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no, that fourth quarter was that fourth quarter was magical. Including a 17-0 run.
17-0. Great. No wonder why we closed the game. So we almost won the quarter by 20. And I'm like, good Lord, what happened in the last 10 minutes of that game? I love it, baby. That's how you close it out.
Yeah. But I mean, someone that was completely unstoppable in the second quarter and the third quarter was Benedict Mathurin. He finished with 16 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. Him, Pascal, and Naismith were completely unstoppable. And Johnny Furby on the defensive side was doing pretty solid as well because Furby finished with sorry, it was Furphy and Jarvis Walker, who was always been starting for Toppin, because Toppin's been out with a knee injury, they said, or something like that. Jarvis Walker had 5 steals and Furphy had 2. So those two were menaces on the defense side.
How many turnovers did we have?
We had a total of let me pull it up real quick. We had I think 14 maybe.
It's not bad. It's better, but it's not. It's just still not good.
So total, total turnovers we had 14, but they had 17. But we had 20. But we had 20 fouls, and they had 12. But they led for 68% of the game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we didn't our first lead was the first score of the game, which was 2-0. They pretty much led the rest of the way until that fourth quarter. So,
Chase, why don't you walk us through? I say Chase because Chase caught this. I didn't get to see this. Chase watched more of the first quarter than I did. But tell us about that little Dyson Daniels highlight that we had today. That was freaking sick.
Yeah, no, that dunk was phenomenal.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah, I got on my lunch break just in time to tune into the first quarter and catch the first quarter of the game. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. I had to go back and figure out who exactly it was that Dyson dunked on. Does anyone remember? I don't remember who it was Dyson dunked on exactly.
No, I saw the highlight, but I didn't catch who it was.
I'm gonna pull up the Hawks Instagram real quick because I know they posted on Instagram and I've got to call this guy out. This was Micah Potter.
No, he was he was doing pretty okay too.
Yeah, so it was in the first quarter, about midway through the first. I mean, it was just as simple, CJ McCollum had the ball at the top of the key. He had two men kind of press up on it, which kind of set Dyson Daniel free. So he did a little bounce pass to Dyson Daniels, and the only one standing in his way in the paint was Potter. And typically this is a moment where Dyson Daniels does try to do his little floater off the glass, which is a little hit or miss. But given his performance tonight, probably would have been a hit. But no, Buddy said, "Forget the floater. I'm going straight up on this guy." He went up with him, one hand cocked back, dunked it on Potter's face. And I think it caught Bob and Dominique off guard so much because I think they're all expecting a little floater there. And Bob Rappa just couldn't believe what he just saw. I think the best part was
I've never seen dunk like that or dunk
No.
in general. Honestly, he never dunks.
I mean, we seen him do a couple of small dunks when it's just him in the paint, but we have never seen him try to go up like that on anybody. And Potter's got some size on him. To be exact, he is 6'9", while Dyson is 6'7", so they're a little close in height. But Potter's got 2 inches on him. Every inch matters in this league. Hey, that's what I'm saying. 2 inches is massive, if you ask me.
That's huge, dude. Oh my gosh, that's massive.
I mean, 2 inches. I mean, we're talking like that. That does a lot of damage. And the oh gosh, you're gonna have to forgive me. I feel so ashamed.
What? You feel ashamed, buddy?
I do. Phil Swift. I forgot the Flex Show guy. I was gonna say in the words of Phil Swift, that's a lot of damage. 2 inches. But hey, Dyson Daniels took his moment, didn't let it fade, and he ran with it. I think the best part was he was so nonchalant about it, and he did a little point at Potter and just kind of walked away. Like what he did was just an everyday thing. And Jalen Johnson in the background had his hands over his head. Jalen Johnson couldn't believe it. It was a great moment. But
that just shows confidence, though. That just shows as a scorer in general, he's fine. He's more confident in himself to attack the rim. And Chase, I know. You've had your fair share of Instagram arguments defending Dyson Daniels in terms of his scoring abilities, and it just keeps getting better every single day. It just keeps getting better.
Absolutely. But Andrew, I wanted to kick it back to you, and I kind of want you to talk more about this 17-0 run that the Atlanta Hawks went on. Kind of mention what point in the game it was, and because it was looking a little dim, but then the sun came out on this winter storm and shined upon State Farm Arena, and the Atlanta Hawks got a much needed win. Andrew, can you kind of dive into that a little bit? Talk about how big of a momentum swing that was.
Yeah, and Jordan mentioned it before too.
Right.
I did go back and watch the highlights so I could, know what I'm talking about in this game at least a little bit. But yeah, so basically the Pacers, like Jordan mentioned, they led by 15 midway through the third quarter. And we were up not in the third quarter. Yeah. And I'm trying to think what the score was. I literally just had the score in my head. Anyways, the exact score doesn't matter. Just know they're up.
Hold on, you said 15. I think it was 59 to 72, I think, or something like that.
It was ugly. It was ugly.
Pretty good.
But yeah, so midway through the third quarter, Pacers up by 15, and then the Hawks went on their massive 17 unanswered run that carried into the fourth quarter, and it was capped off by a Luke Kennard 3 from the corner that gave the Hawks a 102-92 lead in the fourth quarter, and that's what kind of separated things. But basically, just going back and watching the highlights, the few things I gathered, and this is just another thing about the Hawks getting out of their own way, because a lot of our 14 turnovers came at the start of that third quarter when the Hawks were just trying to do too much with their passes. They were trying to, I don't want to say moving the ball too much, but they were impatient with their ball movement. They weren't letting players get settled. They weren't letting them get around screens, and it was just they were letting the Pacers get their quick defenders in the way too early, and that's what led to those easy steals. But then it took one timeout, and we know Quinn Snyder, when he uses those timeouts, he rips into the teams and he exposes knows us what the issues are, so we know how to alter it. And that's exactly what happened. Coming off the timeout, the Pacers scored 4 points, and that's when the Hawks went on their 17-0 run immediately after the timeout. And it all came just by small little fixes. We were more patient on offense. We made sure that we attacked more inside, so the Hawks could transition easier on defense, and because the three ball just wasn't falling at the time. And that's when Yeke Kongu had a lot of points in that 17-0 run. CJ McCollum had a lot of tough baskets on harsh finish and actually got an and one. We actually had 2 and ones in that 17-0 run, one by CJ McCollum, I think the other by Dyson Daniels. And that's another thing. The Hawks just weren't scared to penetrate the paint, because there was a moment in time in that 17-0 run where the Hawks actually had 2 second chance points off 2 rebounds. So we had confidence in not only cleaning the glass and grabbing boards for more opportunities, but just getting the paint in general and just understanding that we had to expand our game a little bit more. And like I said, ball movement was better. There was no turnovers. We actually forced 3 turnovers ourselves during that 17-0 run, which led to some easy points as well. And that's just the thing. It just takes few minor fixes, a few tweaks that Quinn Snyder noticed, and just like that, the Hawks would now look like a new basketball team, and it led us all the way to a big fourth quarter. Again, almost winning the quarter by 20, and the Hawks scored 132, led comfortably about halfway through the fourth, got ourselves a 3rd win in a row, and now we prep for Boston, baby, looking to extend the streak. And listen, guys, there's a chance. It's a tough back-to-back against Boston and Houston, but there's a chance we get those 2 wins. We take another trip to Indiana. We take that game, and just like that, the Hawks are going into February with a game over 500. This is real life, y'all. Real life possibility.
I also want to go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh,
No,
I was just gonna give a quick shout out. So the Atlanta Hawks move in this game to 130 actually had a lot to do with Quinn Snyder. So Quinn Snyder actually reached out to Rick Carlisle and the Pacers staff, and he talked to Hawks staff as well. And he's kind of like, hey, I know the game starts at 7:30. The roads might get a little dangerous here tonight. How about we move the game back to 1:30 so we don't have to worry about it? And they're like, hey, you know what? That's a smart idea. So shout out to Quinn Snyder, thinking of the Atlanta community, thinking to keep him safe. And hey, man, maybe it was a little strategic. Maybe he was like, hey, it's going to be
shout out to both coaches. Honestly, I was like you're saying, like that's a big adjustment for playing an earlier game rather than later game, because you have to because you have to look at the player much faster.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Rick Carlisle too for willingly being okay with that.
W man. And you're right, John, to your point. They even asked CJ McCollum about it, and CJ McCollum kind of expressed that he really does not like early starts. He compared it to coming off the bench after being injured for so long and had to adjust the basketball. He was like, you just feel sluggish and unprepared. It's a big mental thing because, like you said, John, you have to get to the stadium earlier. You have to get your body prepared.
So I think I know what I'm talking about, Jace. I'm a basketball.
You do, yes.
I think I know what I'm talking about.
Good point. Yeah, John knows.
I know what I'm talking about.
John knows. Yeah, John knows firsthand what it's like to wake up at the crack of dawn to play some basketball.
Yeah, I know. Hey. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. In my experience, for the most part, it doesn't really go like morning game. Don't really go my way. But hey.
Hey, we have some some first-hand insight here. We have some first-hand insight here. So, John, I'm going to ask you, what's the toughest part to adjusting to an early game? What's the hardest part about it? Is it a mental thing or is it a physical thing?
I would say mainly physical. Because you gotta go to bed early, and then you gotta wake up early. Your brain takes time to wake up and stuff. That's just my opinion, honestly.
That's actually pretty much what CJ McCollum said. So you and CJ McCollum kind of see eye to eye that. He was like, you have to get your mind and your body prepared to play basketball a lot earlier than it's used to. And he kind of mentioned it kind of seems like nothing, but he said it's actually a lot harder of adjustment than people might think,
Yeah, no, it is.
especially when you're so used to playing late tip-offs.
Yeah.
And I guess to leave it off the episode, something that I don't know how we haven't mentioned yet, because we talked a lot. Luke Kennard leading the NBA on 3-point percentage. Jalen Johnson leads we talk about how he's so close. He's like 1 or 2 stats away every single time from collecting a triple double, but he still leads the NBA in total double doubles with 32 that he got against Phoenix. So shout out to Jalen Johnson, man, leading the way in double doubles. You might not be getting all those triple doubles that you hope for, but hey, man, double doubles are still there. So shout out JJ. But yeah, do y'all have any closing remarks before we cap off the episode?
Again, I'm gonna steal what you just said. I don't know how we haven't talked about this, but 6 years ago today.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking about this on the pod because last year, like we were recording on a Sunday and it's a Monday. Well, have we not recorded? Recorded yesterday? We probably wouldn't have been able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But this is a basketball podcast, so we gotta mention 6 years ago a day we did lose Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant to that.
We did.
Horrible helicopter accident, but yeah.
No.
Never forget, man. Mamba forever, man. Mamba forever.
Go ahead, bro.
I mean, we do have some Hawks news and we do also have some more Hawks news. Zachary is day to day, so he could be coming back soon. But this tall 7'3" guy that keeps showing up at the arena but isn't playing. I think they call him like I think like fans call him like the unicorn or something.
Yeah,
I mean, he's supposed to be like coming back and he's supposed to be like reevaluated in like a week or something to play. Yeah. So maybe we'll see him on the court at some point.
There has to be some rule against that. I think he's some random fan that keeps trying to throw himself as part of the team. There has to be some kind of rule against that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Chase and I will get lucky enough to see Zachary on Thursday. I don't know about that one fan though. Maybe they'll finally kick him out. I don't really know.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I won't go into detail because it's a long story. But if you haven't heard of it, this is what it reminds me of. Look up the story of a soccer fan that convinced a team that he was a part of the team. He was just a random fan, and he convinced a soccer team that he was a player, and he was so convincing they let him on the team, and he hasn't played a game of soccer in his life. It's a true story. Look it up. It is one of the craziest things you'll ever hear. That's why I feel like this 7'3" guy. I think he's trying to manipulate the Hawks to make him feel like he's part of the team. It feels like he's working because, he's sitting on the sidelines. If he shows up in a jersey, that means his plan worked.
Maybe one day. But thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Talkin ATL Hawks. Maybe when we reintroduce another episode 65, there is a chance we are one game over 500. Now, I'm speaking into existence. It's been a great episode. I want an even better episode next week, so tune into that. But thank you guys for tuning in. As for me, myself, and John Joyner, and whatever that smudge is on my screen. I don't really know what that is. Chase. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.